Pasuk Yud. Hashem Elokechem Kirbo Eschem. Hashem has increased you, mean number-wise. Vinchem Hayom Kilchvei Hashemaim L'Rov. Today you are the equivalent of the stars of the heaven, L'Rov, in abundance. So Rashi immediately cites the Chazal, the Sifri. I mean, were they the equivalent of the stars of the heaven at that moment? There were only 600,000 men above the age of 20. What does it mean today you are? I mean, you exist today as the sun, the moon, and the stars. Meaning, as they're essential for existence, and without them, the world cannot exist. Identically, the world cannot exist without you. It's a new understanding of Kochovim. Now, the Rov, what is in abundance? And as many stars as there are, which borders on the infinite. Why are there that many stars? The answer is because it's necessary for the world to function within the capacity that God wants it to function, and you need that many stars. Why? As we say, only God knows. But factually speaking, the reason why the world exists as it does, and the sun, the moon, and the stars are crucial for the existence of the earth. Just as they're basic and essential for the existence of the earth, identically, you know less the same. And the kayomim. And they must exist because they wouldn't exist, the world didn't exist. Identically, you must exist because if you wouldn't exist, the world not exist. What is this a throwback to? At Sinai, Hashem put the mountain over our heads. And he said to us, either you accept the Torah or the world goes back to pre-existence. Was that an ultimatum? Was that a threat? And we said, we accept. It's Kofel Gigas. Well, God was telling him, why did I create existence? Existence has an objective, has a purpose. If that purpose cannot be met, the world has no value. Now, what is the value of creation? The first words of the Torah tells us exactly what that objective is. For the sake of Torah, for the sake of the Jewish people, the world was created. So everything that exists, everything in the world that exists as it does, was only because this is the setting for all the challenges of the Torah, and it corresponds to every aspect of the Torah. And as I said, Chazal tell us that the blueprint for existence was the Torah. Istakel baraisa borei alma. God looked in the Torah and he created the world. We gave the example. Why within the 5 species of grain that if you add water, it becomes leavened? Why? The whole concept that fermentation process within grain, which we call chametz, why does that exist? Why is that part of creation? You know why? Because in the Torah, there's a law that for 7 days, at a certain period of time, a Jew is not permitted to eat chametz. Therefore, it's takal baraisa bor alma. So the process of fermentation and leavening process has to exist within creation because there's a law in the Torah called chametz. And all what exists within physical existence, there's halacha that Sefer Torah Tefillah Mezuzos, the leather, the parchment, can only come from kosher species. If it's not a kosher species, it doesn't qualify. That an animal has a hide, because tefillin needs leather. Therefore, you have to have a hide. And it's a hide of a kosher species because there's halacha of tefillin, and tefillin have to meet certain criteria. And the criteria is mutar befichor, has to be kosher species. If you have to have kosher species, the laws of ritual slaughter. You have to cut the trachea and the esophagus. So kosher species has that. And a kosher species has 4 stomachs. And the various laws, which only are contingent on reality. That's istankel boraisa bori alma. So God created every aspect of this existence. The blueprint was the Torah, because that's the context in which the challenges exist and the performance takes place. The Jew says, we're not interested. God says, I only created this world for one purpose. For that sake, the Torah, and you're the only people who have relevance to it. If you people are not interested, there's nothing to talk about. Therefore, the world reverts back to pre-existence. It's not a threat. It's not an ultimatum. But God's saying, this is bottom line. That's what it's about. So he accepted. It was under coercion. It's not, we have no choice. No, of course we had a choice. That if we want to continue, Hashem says, it's like, there's a Chazal, says by the Mabul, God destroyed all mankind, and he destroyed everything living, becharova. All species that were on the dry land, except for the fish in the ocean, were destroyed during the Mabul. So the Midrash asks, if God destroys the human being because he's not worthy, because he sins, why are you destroying the world? Let the world continue. Just destroy mankind and leave Noach. So the Midrash answers, Moshel Ma'adav Adoma, what is it analogous to? You have a king and he only has one son who's a prince. And he prepares the most elaborate dinner to celebrate the wedding of his son. And then his only son who he loved, who he lived for this son, the son dies under the chuppah. Under the chuppah, he dies. If he dies under the chuppah, there's no wedding. There's nothing to celebrate. So what does the king do? He destroys whatever he prepared for the wedding. So people say, at least let the people benefit from it. So the king says, you don't understand. All this was only for my son. My son is the only thing I have has value to me. This is only to celebrate my son's wedding. There's no son, there's no celebration. If that's the case, I destroy it all. The purpose of creation was mankind. If mankind fails and all these species and all the land animals and whatever existed on dry land was only for man, and man fails, but nothing has value any longer. Therefore, God destroyed everything. That's the mashal. That's the allegory. God says the world has purpose. What's the purpose? Torah Klal Yisrael. If you people are not interested, there's nothing to talk about. Just as the sun, moon, and stars are essential for the existence of the world, identically, the Jewish people are no less essential for the existence of the world. That's today. You could koche shrine borov. We're going into Eretz Yisrael, and the performance of the Torah, its main location is Eretz Yisrael, because we have mitzvahs atluis v'aretz, mitzvahs which can only be performed in Eretz Yisrael. So that's our location. Therefore, he says, today you're koche shmaim l'rov. Now we're ready for the real time, that every aspect of Torah will be fulfilled as you go into Eretz Yisrael. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu is saying to them at this moment. Find that when Korach came with his claim against Moshe Rabbeinu, that it was nepotism, that he chose his brother to be the Kohen Gadol, and they said to Moshe, Kulanu Kadoshim, we're all holy, we're all qualified to officiate in the capacity of high priest. Why did you pick your brother? So Moshe Rabbeinu says, come back tomorrow morning. Boker. In the morning, God will reveal who's the chosen one. And then you'll know it's God, it's not me. But he used the term boker. So Rashi over there cites two interpretations. He tried to, it was a delay tactic, because he says, now is the time people eat, they drink, and there's a slight degree of intoxication. Sleep on it overnight, come back tomorrow morning. That's the first interpretation, boker. Boker v'yoda Hashem. In the morning, God will make known who is the chosen one and who's not the chosen one. The other interpretation, Rashi says, boker, what's boker? Just as God set parameters in existence. There's day and there's night. As it says, God separated between the day and the night. And then it's vayer ve'voker. Identically, God set parameters that just as you can't change day and say daytime should be nighttime, nighttime should be daytime, once Aaron was chosen to be the high priest, that cannot be changed. That's how essential it is. Aaron being in the position of high priest, as the world only exists as God created it, for the spirituality of the world to be addressed, Aaron has to be that high priest. Nobody else is qualified to be that. These are the parameters of existence. It's similar to what we're speaking about now. As you need to call yourself to be a Jewish people, to be a world, Jewish people, the world should exist, because that's the objective. All the various contexts in which we do exist, to meet those spiritual milestones and have relevance to whatever God intended this world should bring about, things have to be in place, and the people who are qualified, only they can bring about what's meant to be brought about. That's the boker. That's Aaron. Aaron was chosen, that he says, you can't change day to night and night to day, because those are the boundaries God set. Identically, God said it's Aaron and no one else. Hashem Elokei Avosechem, Yosef Aleichem Kochem Elef Pomim. God should add upon you 1,000 times. He's given bracha. You should be 1,000 times your number. Say bracha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech Elohim asher kiddushon, and so too. Okay.
Amen.
Standard. Vivorech eschem chashedi belochem. Hashem should increase your number 1,000-fold, and He should bless you as He spoke to you. So Rashi, famous Rashi over here. Ma'u shuv vivorech eschem chashedi belochem. What is He adding? Hashem should increase your number 1,000-fold, and then He should bless you as He spoke to you. El Amru Lo, Moshe. They said to Moshe, you're putting a limit on the bracha. Meaning you say 1,000-fold. That's limitation. As much as 1,000 is, 1,000 times what they are, it's an enormous number, but you're putting a limitation on it. That's limited. Hashem already said to Avram that humanly it's not possible to count the Jews, to evaluate the number. So if that's the case, you're minimizing the bracha. Hashem's bracha surpasses whatever you said. So you're actually minimizing what we have. Amalehem Subi Shalehi. What I'm saying to you, this is my bracha. His bracha is in place. Your number is this unlimited number, but it should be 1,000 times that unlimited number. This is what I'm adding to that. Therefore, I'm not in any way minimizing that, but I'm only increasing that number, whatever that is, 1,000 times. What exactly is this back and forth between Klal Yisrael and Moshe Rabbeinu? We have an unlimited bracha. By you saying 1,000 times our number, you're putting a limitation. It's like a person has $100 billion, or he's nearing $1 trillion, and you say, something, you should have 100 trillion. But God says it's even beyond that. I mean, the numbers are so unreal, 1,000 times what you are is something unheard of. But God said it's unlimited. Does it really make a difference? Unlimited, not unlimited. It's like, what do you make an issue over something which seems to be really irrelevant? When we're talking about in reality, what exactly is the back and forth? Klal Yisrael and Moshe Rabbeinu said once it's a different reality. What is the reality of the Jew? As we said, whenever we speak about you'll be like the stars of the heaven, which cannot be counted, or Hashem says to Avram, as you cannot count the stars, your children will not be able to be counted, or the sand on the beaches, on the seashore, you can't. What does that mean? Factually, we're always a number we can be counted. Whatever that number is, it is computable. What does that mean? So we always explain, we're speaking about quantitative value, qualitative, quantitative. To be able to fathom the innate value of a Jew, it's not fathomable. I always say, a person has 100 trucks of iron, whatever, or 1,000 trucks of iron, and you have the Hope Diamond. So a person would say, that value-wise, if you don't understand what the diamond is, its clarity and its size, although it's no bigger than an egg, its value is maybe multiples what 100 trucks loaded with iron is. Because there's the innate value, but if you don't have an understanding, you don't have an understanding. The innate value of the Jew in terms of the dimension of the neshama, as I always mentioned in Rav Chaim Voloshina, even the greatest angel cannot fathom the makeup of the Jewish soul. So therefore, even though physically we have the same finite physical structure as any other human being, but that's not our value. Our value is not our physicality. The physicality is only to facilitate the essence of what the Jew is, which is the neshama. And our actions impact to perfect that soul, which is the infinite, which borders on the infinite, which has relevance to Hashem. Yeah, that's what it is. Therefore, your children will be like the stars that cannot be counted. As it's something which is not computable, your essence cannot be estimated or even related to what it is. So what is that? We had once said, and I mentioned this morale in the past, the Gemara says, based on a pasuk in the Torah, I will give blessing basomecho. A granary is called, there's a brand in Israel called Osem. Osem, when Ernie not only goes to Israel to buy Osem as a Zionist, he buys Osem even in Teaneck because he wants to support the Israeli economy. Osem, asomecho means the granary. I will bring blessing into asomecho, into your granary. So the Gemara says, what is the takeaway? Somi means concealed. In Hebrew, suma is a blind person. Only something that's concealed, not knowing what it is, has relevance to brocha. And it says, what's the application of this? A person brings in his harvest, and he hasn't yet evaluated how many bushels he has. And he says a tefillah, you should bring brocha on my harvest. It's a valid tefillah. That since it's an unknown quantity, bracha could happen. Although in reality it's less, it could turn out to be more. But once you evaluate and you know how many bushels you have, and you say tefillah, it's called tefillah shov. It's a supplication in vain. Because once it's fixed what it is, it can't be changed. Bracha will not change that reality. Therefore, if it's weighed, measured, or counted, it has no relevance to bracha. So the Maral explains the concept of bracha is a spiritual concept. What's the difference between the spiritual world and the physical world? The spiritual world is, the physical world is finite. Bracha being spiritual, it can only be effective in a spiritual context. Once what you're blessing takes on a physical profile, it no longer has bracha, relevance to bracha. Therefore, once you quantify it, bracha cannot come upon it. When it's an own entity, it could be anything. It could be much more than it has relevance to bracha. That's the morale. And a bracha davar minayin. So what is unlimited? Unlimited is spiritual. Finite, that's physical. What is the essence of the Jewish people? Essence of the Jewish people is what? We're eternal. That's what we are. Of course, we have so many years to live to be able to address what we were meant to address, to achieve, to be part of the eternal. But our essence is eternal. So when Hashem says to Avram Avinu, your children will be not computable, the number will not ever be fathomed. What does that say about who we are? That's a confirmation our essence is spiritual. And therefore we have relevance to unlimited. Moshe Rabbeinu said, but you need 1,000 times your present number. But they say to Moshe, you're shortchanging us. 1,000 times what we are, that's physical. That's a quantification. Once you put a quantification on us, that means our essence, we're not our essence, but we're something no different than anything else that exists. So Moshe says, you misunderstood what I said. Whatever is not computable, unknown, it should be 1,000 times that. So it's still unknown. That's what Moshe responded. So it's not the numbers. They say, we're not satisfied with numbers. No. The moment you put a number on us, that means we're not what Hashem said to Avram we are. And that's what we find in the Tochacha, that if we follow the statutes of the Torah, one Jew will pursue 100 of the enemy, and 100 Jews will pursue 10,000 of the enemy. But how's it possible? The answer is because, again, our value is not our number. It's not number versus number. It's our essence versus whatever the world is. Therefore, if the Jew lives within the context of spirituality, one Jew pursues 100, and 100 Jews pursue 10,000 for that reason.